doing as a family. I want to talk about that for just a little bit because we're constantly framing and reframing things. We're like, okay, where are we at? And how do we need to see things? And how do we need to think about this? How do we need to think through what we're going through in order to get through this? And there has been some, it's been challenging. And for everybody that's felt down, depleted, empty, hurting, clinging to God, dealing with some people who are easy to deal with, some people that sometimes are not easy to deal with, people in their maybe growing or even immaturity. And all of those things are real. It's part of this journey that we've been on. And I know even as I'm looking around the room, I just see, heads are nodding on different parts of this story because that's what we've been through it together. And I just want to say it's okay. Not that it's okay that hard things happen, but it's going to be okay. Yeah. And we're going to get through this. Yeah. We're going to get through this time. The Lord is leading us. He really is leading us through this. And there's part of me that is just excited right now because what this is, all this pressure and the shaking, what's going to remain is kingdom. And that's a promise. Yes. And you never, I say this all the time, but I would never choose trials for you. I don't even know that I'd choose them for myself. But we know that when we're going through them, the good stuff is on the other side. Yeah. Roots are going deeper, foundations getting stronger, stones are being knitted more firmly together. We're being stuff chipped off that needs to be chipped off so that we can, fit in with the other living stones that make up the house. And we are being thrust back upon core values during this time. We're being like, what really, really matters? What is the core stuff? And I mean, literally, just going back to the way even we framed our core values at the beginning of the church, that's what we're falling on right now. Submitting to the headship of Jesus Christ, worship, just getting in God's presence, unity among believers. That was one of our core value statements when we first started the church. And, of course, loving God, loving one another, loving those who don't know. But what's the core stuff? And so realizing that there are things through all of these trials that there are things we need to let go of that aren't as necessary or as important. And there are things we need to pick up and make sure that we're walking in. The submitting to the headship of Jesus part, we've talked about, if you've been around for a while, you've heard me say, we've prayed that prayer thousands of times. Well, we've prayed it 1,000 more times in the last year. Just Jesus, you're the head of the church. Lead us through this. Build your church. Help us, God. Show us what to do time and time again. And so our eyes are getting refocused on Jesus. And I just want to encourage you guys in that. Keep the main thing the main thing. And some of those phrases that our original motto statement was the church. We wanted to be the church in simplicity and power. And we've changed that over the years to be the church in life and power because we knew that as this body was growing up, it got a little more complex than it was in the beginning. In the beginning, we had a Sunday morning meeting, we had life groups, and we had leadership training on Saturday mornings at 6:30. So Frontline was every Saturday morning at 6:30. Intense, baby. And we added a few more things, and then we all got kids and grew up, and it was like, well, we can't even do that. No. But anyway, it is good to tell those stories just so that we can remember, man, let's hold on to the stuff that we need and let go of the stuff we don't need during this time. So I just want to say a word here about how are we moving forward? How are we navigating this? How are we, because reconnecting is going to be a process. It took us a process to get here, and it's going to take a process to get the church moving forward again into whatever the new day is it holds out there for us. And it's going to be a new day. And so when I say process, I'm going to just give you a few, we felt like even in that prayer time a month or so ago, that just some ways of analogies of framing this. So think re-entry. Astronauts go out in space. I feel like we've been out in space, but there's a re-entry process for the astronauts. You know, they have to come back out of orbit, and they land, and then they have to reacclimate. I don't know what all the stuff they do is, but there's some reacclimation. Or think, here's a pastoral care missionary person. When missionaries come back from overseas, or there's a debriefing time, there's a re-entry process. And because things are weird when you guys come back from Croatia, things were weird here, these weird United States of America. And it's like that. I think people have been, there are some folks that have been away so long right now, it's going to be just figuring stuff out together. Or think a scuba diver. A scuba diver is under tremendous pressure down underneath the water. And so we've been under tremendous pressure. And so you don't just pop up to the top. You have to, you can't rise faster than the bubbles, right? Than the oxygen bubbles. Or you'll get bubbles yourself in your blood. And you get the bends, right? Somebody probably knows more about that. But we just thought, what a great picture of us. We've been under pressure, and some have, it's hit people in different ways, and you're like, whoa, I didn't see it like that. Hint, there's a lot of that going on right now, and I just, even today, just hearing some more perspective on what's been going on with different people. And so, it's good. Okay, so think re-entry. Think rehabilitation. You have knee surgery. What has to happen? You got to reuse the muscles and the joints, and there's been atrophy, and there's a need to rehabilitate. Rehabilitation. Am I saying that right? Okay, rehabilitate sounded like, I don't know, like a convict or something, but it's a knee. Okay. I don't know why that sounded funny to me. Or think regathering. Here's one. You go to a family reunion, and it's going to be like a family reunion, but, maybe a family reunion is every year or what if you hadn't had one in 5 years? I had people that I had not seen in a year that I saw today, a number of them kind of coming back in and tiptoeing around the edge of the water, and the longer somebody's been away, it's almost like the stranger you act, because like, hey, they're in our family, it's people we're literally saying, I don't know, and part of it is too, everybody's walking around like Mr. Invisible, with a hat, goggles, and face like, I don't have a clue who you are, It's like, first parking lot service, the very first parking lot service, I greet somebody, they say, hey, Jamie! They got the hat, goggles, the sunglasses. Thank you. Thank you. And so they said, hey, I said, hey. I have no clue who they are. We talked for a little while, and I move on to the next couple, and I'm talking with them, and I'm like, Kyle and Emily Burt. Their voices, I finally figured it out. But I had somebody say to me today, it's my first time back, and I don't recognize a lot of these people. Like people are connecting with the church right now. We had 14 adults in the last Welcome to the Family class. It just, like, stuff's happening. Things are moving forward. People are connecting, even in the middle of all of this. And so it's going to be a process. Old and new people coming together. And the words I was thinking of, intentional, proactive, peaceful, and a helpful, servant-like heart. Those are things that we want to be intentional. We want to be peaceful when there's stress around us. And there's stress on the system of the church, on our life groups. And so as we love talking systems theory around here because we're just in the middle of it, and being a peaceful presence in the midst of anxiety is one of the most important things we can do to help people around us. Because when they go, it's a mask and no mask, and it's hard not to, and you kind of because we're together. We're a family. So, huge. And so we're reframing, just in this time to think, think adventure. I would even say think 6 to 8 months. Get some intermediate time frames going in your mind so that it's not like, okay, things are loosening up, boom, it's going to be like the way it was. Yeah. And it will help us all to help. I mean, you guys have your pulse on so many people, and it's going to help us as a whole if you guys are empowered to help other people think process, think steps along the way, and let people, help them. And we've got our arms wide, but everybody's not going to go at the same speed. It's all right. It's going to be okay. And just think, one of the things I'd written down was just how easy it's been for people to get angry at the drop of a hat, to just blow it, lose it. I mean, I haven't. You guys might have. Amen. Yes. Like, what just happened? I'm sorry. That just, and it's because we're all under a lot of pressure. And sometimes we're going up faster than the bubbles or whatever. But, so one of the things we're thinking about as leaders is when, it's such a prophetic picture that everything's under construction right now. And that we're just, there's change happening. There's coming a day. I mean, Micah said, I heard mid-July is when we're talking about opening that. And even that'll be a process. But we're not looking to do massive change when people are coming back. We want to minimize stress. We want to, people aren't looking, hey, how many 92 more things can we change? And we're not even looking to be everything we were pre-pandemic. We want to just, it's a time kind of for us to go back to the core, to simplicity and power, to being the church, all the Ephesians stuff that is just core for us. I mean, that's really who we are. We're a Jesus people, and we're the fullness of Jesus. We are the bride. We are the body. We are the building of God. That's ground zero for us. Acts 2. The church in Acts 11, it's ground zero stuff for us. And so, and I'll just finish with this. It will help us to have and to coach our people in having a learner attitude, a learner heart right now. Just a learner heart. I remember when we first started, Terry Moore, pastor of Sojourn Church, was really mentored me and stuff a bunch early on, and when I was still before planting the church, and he said, Jamie, when you guys get started, you're going to be just learning to worship for a while, and that word has stuck with us all these years. When we would send out gobs of people to plant churches, it changed the whole dynamic in the room. We literally had to learn how to worship together again, because all the people that were going on the church plant were filling up the first 4 rows of the church. They were the radical veins in the neck praying people, Lord, kingdom come. And then they go plant a church, and it's just, I'm like, hey, you guys back there in the back, come on, fill up these rows. I know you're not, we're learning to worship. We're just being learners. And I think that if we can just do that, walk in that, man, it's going to serve everybody really well, and especially the people that they're taking their cues from us. And Don Finto, the Word, he had a little video on Caleb. I can't remember where I've shared this, so if I've already shared it on the Sunday or something, I'm sorry. But I love Don. But he had a little thing, encouragement came out this past week, and it was on change the atmosphere. That because we carry Jesus, Christ in you is the hope of glory, that wherever we go, we can change the atmosphere. So everybody, we're atmosphere changers, and so all of our life group people are taking their cues from us, and so it's, really important. So does that help you guys?